Hi everyone, I'm Jo Fry and this is Jojo Fry Rocks, the live stream. Hi to anyone who's here. Please feel free to drop your comments and questions and things in the chat as we go along. This is the first time I've ever done a live stream, so I really hope it's all working. I hope my mic's working and you can hear me. Please let me know if you can't, and I'll try to call in my tech support, which is just Matt, who's in the other room. Yeah, this is weird, isn't it? Anyway, nice to see a couple of you here. Hi to Howie and Peter, and Scott and Bud. Hiya, Bud. Nice to see all you guys here. Thank you so much for coming along and supporting this. I haven't got a particular topic or anything that I've particularly thought to talk about. I put a post up earlier on today to just kind of ask if anyone had any suggestions or things that they thought might be a good topic to talk about on a live stream. And yeah, a few people have come up with some great ones actually. So we can probably start with those. Thanks, Peter. Good to hear that that's all looking good. Hey, Steve Cassidy, how's it going, mate? Oh, thank you so much. And Anton. Hi, Anton. Yeah, everyone's here. Brilliant. I'm really pleased. I thought I'd be here on my own, and especially as it was quite last minute. I was umming and ahhing about whether to do it or not, but you know what? I just thought, let's just go for it and see what happens. So yeah. Oh, hi Graham as well. I think probably most of you who are here have been watching my channel for a little while, so you probably know a bit about me and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and everything. But I thought as it's been kind of just over the year that I've been doing it properly, I suppose, or really getting into it, I thought I'd just kind of give a little bit of an intro just in case newer viewers are here and they've only seen the last couple of videos. So I'm a guitar enthusiast, I would say. I've been playing since I was about 7 years old. Started off on the acoustic guitar, learnt from my dad, who probably knows about 4 chords and is a big fan of the Beatles and that kind of generation of music. And yeah, just started off really learning Beatles songs on the acoustic guitar, and the kind of 3 or 4 chords that my dad taught me. And I mainly kind of self-taught. And then when I kind of started getting into electric guitar in the kind of early to mid 90s, it was more kind of rock music and grunge as well. So everything from kind of Def Leppard and Bon Jovi to Nirvana and Alice in Chains and Guns N' Roses, all that great stuff is what I kind of grew up learning, listening to and trying to play. And you'll see lots of examples on my channel in the shorts and things of me still 30 something years later trying to play all that stuff. So yeah, in terms of kind of one of the suggested kind of topics was about what is my inspiration to play, what inspires me or has inspired me to play. And so I'm going to do a shameless plug straight off the bat, straight out the gate, for my sort of mini series that I did, which was all about my my top 5 guitar heroes. So if you want to kind of check out some of those, and one of them is Richie Sambora, and the person who asked the question, Richie is my hero, which is a great username, because Richie is my hero as well, Richie Sambora. So he's been a big inspiration to me over the years. But yeah, other kind of guitar heroes are Kurt Cobain, Justin Hawkins from The Darkness, Slash, who's probably everyone's hero in one way or another, and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains, who I'm going to see. I'm going to see him in June, and I'm super excited about it. And I'm just absolutely thrilled. I'm just so stoked that I was able to get tickets for that. So yeah, now I'm just sort of like, I mean, it was 6 months away, but yeah, really, really looking forward to it. So those are some of the kind of people that inspire me, but there's loads and loads and loads and loads, including a lot of you guys actually, and you guys with guitar channels on YouTube that I watch and feel inspired by all the time, every day. So that's kind of one of the things that sort of keeps me going. But yeah, my go-to guitar to practice on at the moment as well, which is a great question, is my Squier Thinline Telly, and that's mainly because I do quite a lot of practice in the evenings, and so I can't really plug in, and the acoustic guitar is too loud, so and I don't always want to just practice acoustic stuff, so I use the Thinline Telly quite a lot actually to practice, because I don't necessarily need to plug it in, and I can do my Tim Pierce masterclass stuff on it. So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, milestone wise, I suppose what I would see as a milestone would be if I could move away actually from just learning songs. And I was saying this, I was on one of Steve Cassidy's live streams, or I was in the chat on one of his live streams, and you know, I was just kind of talking about the approach to learning guitar, and my approach has kind of always been learning riffs, learning songs, learning solos, but mainly learning like pieces and bits and pieces and guitar parts. And one of the things that Steve was saying is that we've all got, or a lot of us have got, this like fragmented learning where we've learned bits and pieces, particularly if we're self-taught, and we might have picked up some bits about scales or bits about theory, or bits about technique, but it's all very fragmented, and that's what it feels like to me. It feels like it's an accumulation of 30 years of bits and pieces of guitar playing, and I'm always trying to like pull them all together, pull the threads together. So I think a milestone for me would be actually trying to learn and understand what I'm doing and actually kind of learn maybe a little bit of theory, even just about like chords and how they're constructed, and even like learning how to like map the fretboard. So yeah, if I can actually kind of start bringing some of this learning together, like that would be a really cool milestone, I think. And I think that would really help me to progress. Hey, Brian's in the house searching for tone. Nice to see you, buddy. And Brad, nice to see you as well. Thanks for all your recent comments and engagement on my channel. It's been really cool chatting to you and finding out loads of different things, actually. But yeah, I always enjoy reading all of your comments, and always learning more, because I'm either learning about different types of guitars and gear that I didn't know about before that some of you have got, or different like bands and musicians that I've never heard of. I have discovered so much new music actually since in the year that I've been doing this channel. I've really kind of expanded my repertoire of stuff I listen to. So I am starting to kind of break out of that 80s, 90s box I suppose, of rock music and starting to explore other stuff. And that's kind of mainly thanks to people like giving me suggestions and recommendations. So that's actually been a real bonus of doing this channel. So I really appreciate that. Hey, Omverse. Haven't seen you around before, but you're very, very welcome. Usually I recognise people's usernames because, as I say, we've usually been like chatting in the comments and stuff of my various videos and things. And some of you, like Howie, who's been around since kind of, I must have had, I don't know, 10 subscribers when I first started. It's really, really cool that some of you guys are still around and sticking with it. So that really means a lot to me. I just want you to know that. But yeah, so kind of what else can we talk about? Oh gosh, Brian's suggested loads of things, and I think all of these things would be like an entire, I could probably do an hour on all of these topics. But yeah, memorable music moments, first song that I played. I talk a little bit about this in my Kurt Cobain Guitar Heroes video, but yeah, like basically, once I'd got going on the acoustic guitar, I'd been playing that for a few years. So I was playing, like I say, quite a few like Beatles songs, Elvis, any of those kind of 1960s kind of rock pop songs that were basically 4 chords and you could just get away with strumming them and singing. Because I love to sing as well. Like, it's a big thing in my family. I've touched on it a little bit, but I'll probably do some more stuff on this. But a lot of my family are from kind of the area around like Liverpool, like Merseyside. So kind of in between like Liverpool and Manchester. And I know some of you are from the US, so you don't necessarily know, or that doesn't necessarily mean a lot, but I'm sure most of you know and realise that that's where the Beatles came from. And that's a kind of big thing in my family. Like my parents' generation were of the age where they were actually going out sort of to the cavern in Liverpool and watching the Beatles. So, it was at a time when I think just rock and roll was the thing, the cultural mainstream, and everyone wanted to pick up a guitar. Everyone wanted to be in a band. Everyone wanted to sing, and it was just something that you did. You just at school or whatever, you wanted to get up on stage and perform, and that's kind of been quite a big thing in my family. So we grew up with this sort of idea that it's something that you really want to aspire to. You want to get up on stage, you want to perform, you want to sing, you want to play, and we would do that, go around to people's houses and visit family, and it would always end up with people getting up and singing some songs and stuff. So I've been kind of doing that since I was about 7. And then in my early teens, when I was kind of 13, I got my first electric guitar. And the first stuff I started trying to play was Nirvana, was Smells Like Teen Spirit. So yeah, I would say that was my first song on the electric guitar. That was the band that inspired me. Kurt Cobain was the guitarist that first inspired me. And, bless my mum for putting up with me repeatedly bashing out Smells Like Teen Spirit, like over and over and over again, in those early years. on my Squire Strat, which was the first guitar I ever had. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started. Let's just catch up with the chat a minute. Oh, if I love 90s music, try a band called Failure. Okay, never heard of them. See, this is what happens. This happens all the time. There's so much that has either passed me by or it didn't make it to the UK or, at the time. And yeah, I've never heard of them. So I'll definitely have a look at those. Do I have or use guitar pedals at all? Yes, I do. And I'm trying to. But I haven't, up until now. I've never had any interest in using guitar pedals. I've never really understood them or knew what they were for. Since about kind of 2003, I've had a digital modelling amp. So for the last 20 years, if I ever needed or wanted to use any effects, they were built into the amp. So I've got my Line 6 Spider 210 over there, which I've had that and used that for the last 22 years. And last year I got the Boss Katana, the 50-watt combo, and that has been incredible. That is a game changer, in my opinion. That is, that's just everything you need. The discovery of patches has been a life-changing experience. And as I was talking about in the video that I put out last week, just this discovery that any guitar, you can make any guitar sound like anything you want, any sound you want. That has literally blown my mind. And using different guitars, when you use a patch on a digital modelling amp like the Katana, you really can't hear a lot of difference. Honestly, you can't tell really that you've plugged in a different guitar if you're using that and you're playing a patch on there. So I kind of don't use pedals other than a wah pedal that Andy Mack very kindly sent me, and I'm trying to understand and get my head around how to use that, because quite a lot of the songs that I like to play have got quite a lot of wah in them. So yeah, I'm trying to master the use of a wah pedal. But even the Katana even does that. It's got auto wah function, and it's wow, it does it for you. Although it's not, you can't really control it exactly, so it's not as good as using a pedal. So no, I've never used them. But maybe that's something that I could try and experiment with, because there's got to be something, about it, because so many of you out there and on all these channels that I watch, you're all always buying pedals and reviewing pedals and stuff, and they do sound really cool. So there's probably something there that I need to investigate, I think. Oh, and Howie, you've been playing with a synth pedal. What is that? Is that something that makes your guitar sound like a synth? If so, why would you do that? I guess if you want to make synth noises and you don't have a synthesizer, I suppose is the simple answer. I don't kind of listen to a lot of like synth music other than Depeche Mode. But the Depeche Mode music that I like has got a lot of guitar in it. So, and that's, those are the songs that I like more, I think, when Martin Gore's on his Gretsch. I really like those kind of songs. Oh, hi, by the way, Canadian Divergent. Haven't said hi to you yet this evening. Do you consider yourself a player or a listener? Ever listen to Alan Holdsworth? I would like to think that I'm both, because I enjoy listening to music equally as much as playing and singing and stuff. I'd probably say that I'm not the sort of music fan that would, like, I can't listen to like purely instrumental music very much. So Alan Holdsworth, it probably isn't necessarily my bag. Even though I do know some of his stuff and I know that he's incredible. Like, just one of the most incredible guitarists that there's ever been. But I think this is something that I kind of came up against when I was doing this kind of mini series where I tried to get into certain genres of music that I've avoided or that I have always thought I don't like or can't get into. And a couple of those, like jazz and prog rock, because I think they've got quite a lot of songs and tracks which are mostly or purely instrumental. I find that harder. I do find it harder. I find that sort of harder to access. There's just something about singing. There's something about someone singing some lyrics that sort of, it sparks my imagination a bit more and it draws me in a bit more, and I find that like easier then. So even if it's quite a long track or something or quite complex, like at least if there's singing, I find it easier to follow. Whereas like purely instrumental stuff, I do struggle a little bit, even if it's like Joe Satriani, who I love as well, but I don't think I could sit down and listen like all the way through to Surfing with the Alien or something. I listen to bits and pieces, and I have tracks that I like, but I don't think I could just like sit and listen to the whole thing. So maybe I'm not as much of a listener, but that is an interesting question. I've got lost in so much chat. It's so nice to see you all. Hi, goats on the roof. Another sort of OG viewer, subscriber. Really, really nice to see you here. You do things like brass and keys with a synth pedal. Oh, okay, I see. And yeah, pedals are fun to come up with interesting sounds. Like, I'm sure there are some things that I can't necessarily do on my modelling amp that I could probably do better with a pedal, or it would be easier to do. And I know that some people are a bit put off by using the software like the Boss, like Tone Studio, and it can be a little bit of a faff. And I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, but I at least find it, like, I suppose to some extent intuitive. So you just move some sliders around and you can just see what it sounds like, and if you don't like it, just change it. And I suppose that's the same with dialing in a pedal, I guess. It's probably not that different, is it? But I kind of just find it, I don't know, there's just something more convenient about having it all there on the screen in front of you. I am quite lazy as well, and I don't think I could be bothered to set up the signal chain physically, plug it all in, get it all out, put it all away again afterwards, or I don't know, then if you have to have a pedal board, that takes up more space, and I don't have that much space. So, or do you end up with like getting whole like racks on your wall, like full of pedals? That's probably the answer, isn't it? Mississippi Blues, hi there. Thanks for stopping by. I had a count up last week, 100 and counting. You see, but yeah, I can see how that could happen though. When there's just so many, aren't there? There's so much out there, and people are always talking about new ones and different ones, and it's NAMM at the moment, isn't it? So I don't know about you guys, but like all I'm seeing on my feed at the moment on YouTube, it's just like every guitar YouTuber is at NAMM and showing you all the new guitars, all the new amps, all the new gear that's come out this year. There's all sorts of anniversaries going on, like Gibson's got a 70th anniversary thing going on. They've brought out some reissued whatever it is, and it's just kind of like, God, it never ends, does it? All the new stuff that is all shiny and looks exciting, and they've really pushed the boundaries of what you can do this year. I think it's really hard to kind of resist, and pedals are like, I know a lot of them are, well, they can be very expensive, but some of them are sort of like in the $50 area, and those are kind of like impulse purchases that you can easily make online, I guess, because you kind of think, oh well, if I don't like it, I'll send it back, and well, you never send it back. And and you just end up keeping them and accumulating them, I guess. Yeah, there's so many review videos out there at the moment. Yeah. The gear review channels make my wallet cry. Yeah, exactly. And you're bound to see something that you want. It's inevitable, isn't it? Because that's why, like, we all love this stuff, and that's why we're here. So yes. But I do like try as far as possible not to like just buy stuff on a whim. The things that I have bought like over the last year have been things that like the Katana, for example. I've needed a new amp really for probably about the last 15 years. So like I don't begrudge myself getting that because although I have a lot of affection and fondness for the Spider 210, I mean really it was cutting edge technology at the time when it came out. I mean these things were phenomenal, and I did several gigs with it when I was in a band. It was absolutely brilliant. So I have really, really loved using it, but I don't know, for about 5-6 years after they came out, and then they brought out the Mark IIs and the Mark IIIs, they just weren't as good. Line 6 were really kind of losing their edge, I think, and I think a lot better amps then came out, and then consequently I think it was the Mark II that ended up getting quite a lot of stick. I think especially from players who wanted the more like metal sounds, because there's like a model of it models a dual rectifier, and I think it does an okay job. I think the original Spider 210, that doesn't do a bad job actually of a dual rectifier model, but I think subsequently they just didn't, and they didn't sound great. And so, you know, especially in the era of like new metal, that was a bad time to not be good at that. So yeah, then it was kind of like, oh, Line 6 is rubbish, and everyone thought they were rubbish until a couple of years ago when they started, like they kind of started being amazing again with like the Helix and all that kind of thing. So for a number of years it was like a little bit embarrassing to own a Line 6 amp. Not that I'm bothered, but you know, I think I'd been thinking about getting something new, but I didn't know what to get. And actually, so when I was starting to do this channel, I thought I'm gonna need a decent amp if I'm gonna do anything at all on here. So I spoke to a friend of mine who's a guitar tech, and I asked him for some recommendations, and I said, look, I don't have a lot of cash to spend on this, but I do want to like update my amp and get something, and you know, what is like the modern equivalent of that, but that is good, that will sound good. And yeah, my friend Stig recommended the Katana, and honestly, yeah, that's one of the best bits of kit that I think I've ever had. Definitely like a brilliant investment, great value. It was something like, I don't know, 220 pound or something. It was really not a lot. So, you know, I'm so happy that I bought that. But when I was looking for that, when I was kind of looking into amps and considering maybe getting something secondhand, so I was going through like Facebook Marketplace, and happened to come across someone selling a thin line Telecaster, Squire Telecaster, and it was stunning. I mean, it's just a stunning looking guitar, and like that's never happened to me before. I've never just been like scrolling online and just kind of been taken aback by what a guitar looks like. Like it, genuinely, if you know, without sounding too or trying to sound too weird about it, it was one of those like love at first sight things. Like I'd never wanted a telly before, never been interested, like never even thought about them until I saw that thing. I don't know, I just hadn't even, it wasn't a guitar that I'd ever particularly wanted or even like tried in a shop. So I just saw this thing at this price, which was about half of actually what they go for new, and it was less than 2 years old. And I thought, well, you know what? I didn't spend very much money on a new amp. So, and I hadn't bought a guitar for like more than 20 years. So I thought, you know, I'm doing this channel, I'm updating some of my gear, I'm gonna get that guitar. Like I can't leave that there. I can't scroll past it and leave it there. It's just not happening. So yeah. I'm not sure how I got onto talking about my guitar, my telly, but I do absolutely love it. I think I saw a question actually vaguely related to it from Steve. what would a Jojo Fry signature guitar look like? And I don't know if you've seen, Steve, but I have actually made a guitar. So this here is my Jojo Fry Rocks, well, at the time just Joe Fry signature guitar. It's a funny offset sort of thing. It's solid mahogany. It's got like a 3-a-side headstock shape, which I like just designed myself. I drew that freehand on a piece of cardboard and used that as a template. And yeah, it's made out of solid mahogany. So solid mahogany neck. It was a little bit, tiny bit relict, but it is like 28 years old. So that's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah, bolt on neck, HSS, which as we know is the best pickup combination that you can have. And it's got like a Gibson style tune-o-matic, like stop tailpiece bridge. Volume and tone pot, which is a bit, the wiring's a bit weird. And it's because I was trying to do something clever and not have a pickup selector switch. So the volume is just an overall volume, but the tone is it sort of blends like from one pickup into the next. So you have it like all the way one way at 0 and it's like the neck pickup. And then you can like blend in the middle pickup and then all the way the other way up to 10 takes you to the bridge pickup. But it's not exact. It's not an exact control. So it's a bit interesting trying to select a pickup on this guitar. But yes, this is my signature model, as it were. Where are we up to? It is very heavy, yes. How much does it weigh? I wouldn't like to guess. It's very, very heavy. It's the heaviest guitar that I own. So yeah, it's heavier than any of the others for sure, because it's not like there's no like cavities in there. It's a solid piece of wood. I tried to like sort of carve away, quite a lot of it to make it a bit lighter. So it's got some pretty hefty cutaways, and that does make it, makes it nice and comfortable. So there, I've sort of taken that down fairly substantially, but it's pretty chunky. Look how chunky that is. Oh my god. And yeah, that's the main problem. I couldn't like stand up and play this for an hour. I mean, especially not now. Now I'm old and I've got a bad neck and shoulders and stuff. But even when I was young, like I could maybe do 15-20 minutes with this before being in a lot of pain. So it sounds lovely though, like it really is very resonant. I mean, this wood is very dense. So yeah, the fretboard is actually made out of Iroko, that's quite an unusual fretboard material, and you probably won't find that on a lot of guitars, because I got the Iroko wood from a science desk at school, because I made this when I was at school, and our science tables, desks, were made out of Iroko, which is known to be like, it's very kind of resistant to sort of acid, alkali, and fire retardant and stuff like that, because when you're obviously in a science lab, that's the kind of material that you want your desk to be made out of. So perfect for a guitar fretboard. So yeah, I took a bit of a science desk and made my fretboard out of it. I did get permission, like I didn't just steal it. I was actually allowed. But yes, yeah, don't drop it. Yeah, it's like, I'm so paranoid about that I've actually like permanently, I've got like the strap permanently fixed to it, so that like it's always, I don't have to go searching for a strap. And whenever I play this, I know I'm gonna have to put this on, because otherwise, yeah, I don't want to I don't want to injure myself. But yes, oh yeah, and the 0 fret. Yeah, again, you don't see a lot of guitars with the 0 fret, do you? But it does help with the intonation. Like, I've never had any issues with the intonation on this guitar, and it's a good job, because there's not a lot you can do about it. Like, obviously you can adjust the saddles at the bridge, but you can't adjust the truss rod, because I glued it in and there's no access to it. You can't get to it, you can't adjust it at all. So it has a truss rod, but it is glued in with epoxy resin glue. So I like routed the channel and glued it in, and then glued the fretboard on, and it is forever entombed within the neck. So, but the neck has always, for 28 years, has just stayed completely straight. So, you know, it's never been an issue. Paul Reed Smith bought a few miles of science desks. Oh, hi Rich, novice noisemaker. Nice to see you. Fairpoint Wall of Rock. What point was that? Oh no, I've missed it. Has Angus Young ever used a pedal? Well, you see, yeah, I think there are a lot of guitarists that just are not really into all that kind of stuff. They just want to make as much noise as possible. Or their setup is very, very simple. Like Slash is one of those players that, he doesn't really use a lot of effects. When I was speaking to Ace Bergman, who's his guitar tech, in a recent video on my channel, like I thought there might be quite a bit to talk about there. So I was kind of building up, these questions about like what gear and what effects and what pedals and stuff does Slash use, and that turned out to like not really be much of a thing to talk about, because it's just really super simple. He's got his wah pedal, his signature Slash signature Dunlop wah pedal. Uses a little bit of chorus sometimes, and bit of reverb, bit of delay, like we all do, but that's kind of it. He really was like, Ace was sort of really saying that the tone comes from him. It comes from Slash. Like, the sound that he makes comes from him. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of the guitarists that I like. So, maybe that's another reason why I've never been like that into the whole pedal thing. Although having said that, you know, Nirvana, you know, Kurt used pedals. You know, the Boss DS1, Electro Harmonics, Fuzz, a few other, you know, I can't remember what chorus pedal it is, but, you know, I think he had a fair few pedals going on. So yeah, actually probably more than you would maybe imagine for a band like Nirvana. But yeah, in other cases, you know, not so much. Like The Darkness, I know that Justin isn't really into effects and pedals and stuff. He's really a kind of, well, he was always previously anyway, used to be a Les Paul through a Marshall stack kind of guy. Although over the last year or so, he's moved away from Les Pauls actually, and now plays Atkin guitars. So, you know, and he's had a couple custom made. So yeah, more into like the boutique stuff. But originally, the Darkness sound was always Les Pauls through Marshall stacks, which is the classic, you know, absolute classic rock sound. Yeah, Peter, he does have a backstage rack that Ace operates, but not like, there's not like loads and loads of different effects. I think what he was saying was there's not a lot more to Slash's tone and sound than just like what he plays and what you can see him doing and him playing. It's not, there aren't loads of things for him to do basically. Yeah, right, Rich. Like, I know a lot of people like are not into all the gadgets and stuff and find pedals like easier, maybe because it's a physical thing. I don't know. Maybe because they're there in front of you and you just operate them by switching them on and off. It is quite straightforward, rather than kind of, you know, delving into a piece of software, I guess. I think it's just what you're more used to, isn't it? Or what you've started off with, I guess. But I think we should all try different things. I think we can all learn and we can all improve and stuff. So, you know, I'm not anti anything. You know, I'm definitely not anti pedals. It's just that I've never had a use for them, but it probably would be an idea to at least try some and explore a little bit. Brad. I feel like that about the katana. I feel like you do feel a little bit evangelical when you get one, don't you? You're a little bit like, you've got to get one. Everyone's got to get one. They're so good. And when you get one, you'll understand. Like, by the way, no, I have no sponsorship. Like, there's no, you know, no one's paying me to say anything about anything. This is just all my opinion based on, you know, the stuff that I'm messing around with in a very kind of, you know, beginnerish way. So I wouldn't take anything that I say as any like kind of advice particularly. These are just things that I feel from, you know, what I've been doing and the stuff that I've been doing on my channel. Yes, Steve and everyone, please remember to hit like, because this is my first live stream and I don't want it to tank my channel, which it probably will. But hey ho, no, it's the way it goes, isn't it? Was it Air headphones? I've heard about those. Yeah, I might have to look into that. And yes, Anton, totally agree. The EQ pedal is a must-have. I actually forget that that is a pedal, so I always forget to mention it when people talk about pedals. But yes, I have one. I have this one. The Jojo, which has actually also been quite a revelation since I've had one of these, I have to say. It's kind of amazing, like the tone shaping that you can get with one of these. I've definitely been able to kind of get my guitars that have got humbuckers to, I've definitely got like a more single coil sound out of using an EQ pedal. So, you know, one of the things that like I think could have been better about my PRS Tremonti is that it's got two humbuckers, but neither of them are coil tapped, which I think that's a bit of a shame. I know it's an SE model, so, you know, it wasn't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but I get that you don't get all those like premium features. Fair enough, but like they could have at least done a little like push pull, like coil split. So I've never been able to get anything like a single coil sound out of it until using this. And then I found I could like almost make it sound like a bit stratty. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Really good bit of, I mean, it doesn't have to be this one, but a similar kind of EQ pedal. Like Anton, I agree with you. That is a really essential bit of kit, I think. Yeah. And yes, Alan, that's also another good point, is that if you want your vocals to cut through, you know, it's good to kind of make sure that the frequencies don't all just, you know, mush together. So yeah, you can kind of split that out a bit better. I'm not really very good at technical explanations, but yes, absolutely, totally agree. So yeah, those are some of the bits of gear that I've bought like since I've started my channel, like the katana, the EQ pedal, my thin line telly. Not necessarily all specifically for doing stuff on the channel, but they've all like helped and been useful and contributed to videos. And you find that they all like spark ideas in different ways. And you know, I'm still exploring what some of them can actually do. I still don't feel like I've totally got my head around the katana, so there'll definitely be more about that and what that can do. Where in your chain are you using the EQ? In front of the amp, usually. Hey, Penguin Pebbler. Hi, dude. Yes, I did mention that one of the things I want to do this year is to start writing some songs. So I think what I might do is like try and see if I can get, you know, into like a songwriting course. Like there's a lot of them on YouTube. A lot of like Mary Spender, for example, she's got a songwriting course that I might try. Because I just don't know where to start. So I feel like I need something that I can like that can give me a few tips and hints and bit of guidance. But yeah, it's something that I would really like to do. I'd like to be more creative and create like more of my own music rather than like always just playing music by other people and bands and stuff. I am in kind of a duo, just somebody that I meet up with and jam with, and we do some cover songs, usually just bands that we like, bands from the 90s like Pixies, and Pearl Jam, and Alice in Chains, and things. But he's written some stuff on his own, and so we do some of his stuff. But I'd like to sort of contribute to that as well. So, I want to sort of bring something to the party. So yeah, I definitely would like to start trying to write some stuff. So that's like a goal, I suppose, for this year. Trick with songwriting is you get better the more you do it. Yeah. When you start, you will suck, but it gets better the more you do it. Yeah. I mean, that's the scary thing though, isn't it? Right? When you, you're going to suck, so you don't want to do it. Like, I think that's very human, isn't it? Like, that's one of the reasons why, like, I've not done a live stream before, because I pretty much knew I was going to suck. And so I didn't want to, because it's nerve-wracking. Like anything, when you're starting off and you try to do something for the first time, it's not something that you feel naturally inclined to do, or particularly excited to do. But you're right, you've got to push yourself. You've got to take that first step, and the more you do it, the better you will get. So thank you to all of you who have turned up for this this car crash of a live stream. But it is my first one, and I am learning stuff and thinking about how I would do it next time, and what I need to do in my setup and everything. But yeah, it is all about like that learning experience, and you can't learn unless you do it. So yeah. So didn't get through half of Brian's questions, and that's a good thing actually, because I think some of these things I might even actually want to make a video about. And there's a brilliant question from Strumming Ronin: DIY guitar kits, are they worth it? And I think that actually merits probably a video in and of itself, because I have quite a lot of thoughts about that particular topic. So I'm gonna save that one, if that's all right. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining me, and it's so lovely of you all to be here. I think my biggest fear was that no one was going to turn up. So, once I saw you all there in the chat, I thought, that's great. You've all turned up, and that's the most important thing. So it's been absolutely lovely to spend my Saturday night with you guys, and just hang out. And I have actually really enjoyed it. And I'm sorry if I've missed your comments or questions, but you can always sort of comment on my post or something if there is something that I've missed and that you wanted me to answer. If not, it's likely that I will probably do one of these again. I don't think it's going to be a weekly thing, because everyone's super busy, aren't they? And you've all got live streams, and otherwise none of us will have a life outside of YouTube. We'll just all be on each other's live streams all the time. But I think I'll do these kind of periodically, and I will try to make sure I've got a better way of keeping up with the comments and stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for coming along. And Brad, bless you, lovely. That's my first super thanks. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Have a lovely weekend. That's a lovely way to end the stream. thanks, dude. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And new video coming out on Monday. I'm doing it as a premiere. I'm going to see how that goes. So when that comes out, I will be there in the chat and you can let me know what you think of it as we go along. Okay, see you later. Thanks, guys.